But this conversation, I would like to bring up Holi. So that is the festival of colors in India. I don't know if you've heard about it. So it is a festival where people splash colors on each other. And yeah, it's really
like
fun.
Paint or like paint or what?
It comes in different forms. It comes in paint, in the form of paint, or like powder form, the organic colors.
What is up, Impact Heroes? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rick Ornelas. Thank you for spending some time with us today because we know time's a valuable resource and we're going to make it worth your while. I appreciate each and every one of you, not just for listening, but for who you are. I know you're sparking change to make the world a better place every day, and I am humbled and grateful for your efforts. It takes all of us doing our part to spread positive change, and that's what this show is all about. Motivating you with stories of struggle, courage, and hope to empower you to make a difference in your life and the lives of others.
In case you missed it,
information, we're overwhelmed by things like social media and any other kind of distracting thing you can imagine, which I think pulls us further away from that grounded center that we are humans, and by definition, we are caregiving beings. But I think a lot of us...
Available everywhere you listen to your podcasts.
Welcome back, Impact Heroes, to the latest edition of I Spark Change Through. Now, our goal with these episodes is featuring all the different ways that us and others spark change to make the world a better place through social impact and positive change. We found over the past few years that there are endless ways to positively impact each other's days, and we want all of you to continue to do so. Now, the response to this segment has been extremely positive. We've had episodes on sparking change through fitness, adventure, your mind, body, spirit connection, volunteering, mental health awareness, writing, even our interns, to name most of them. And there are just endless ways. So on that note, I have a question for you. How do you spark change? One of the ways we spark change here at I Spark Change is through cultural exchange. Now, this can mean a lot of things to different people. And to us, it means meeting, connecting, and learning about people from all over the world. In the past 3 years since I started I Spark Change, I've connected with people from across the globe. And that includes Canada, Mexico, Central and South America, Europe, Eastern Europe, the Middle East, India, Asia, Africa, and of course the US. We have followers from pretty much every state in the US and multiple countries around the world, including tiny islands like Malta and large countries like China. And it kind of sounds crazy just saying it. But what's most important to us is really learning about them. How are we different? How are we the same? What can we learn from one another? What are the things that are a part of our culture and that make us who we are every day? And every time I get a chance to interact with someone, I've learned a lot, trust me. I mean, anything from African proverbs to the best restaurants in Athens, which I did put to use, by the way. But it's a lot more than that. You know, one of the ways I love experiencing cultural exchange is on our weekly intern calls. As I shared a couple episodes back, on I Spark Change Through Interns, which was the title of that episode, we have interns from all over the world. And I love hearing what they're going through in their lives and the world that they know. I find it so fascinating that I wanted to let you share in that experience. So here's a conversation on cultural exchange between our 3 current interns, Lady from Peru, or actually Lady's our digital marketing manager, but she started as an intern, Kushal from India, and Samantha, who's from the US living in the UK. So hope you enjoy it.
Yay. Okay, so this is just going to be like a really friendly conversation. We're going to share our cultures from our points of view with no intent to offend anyone, but to have fun and spark a conversation that brings us together. And I'm just going to introduce myself first, if you don't know me yet. I'm Lady. I'm the digital marketing manager. I'm from Peru.
Hello, my name is Sam or Samantha, and I'm the business development intern at I Spark Change. I'm originally from the Bay Area in California, but currently I'm living in London for the summer, which has been a lot of fun.
Hi, I'm Kushal. I'm from India, and I live in London, but I'm here for the summer. And I've been working with I Spark Change for more than a month now, and I feel this is the most exciting part about it, getting to know about different cultures and meeting all these exciting and lovely people.
Yay. I was just going to start like right away with the questions. We have questions just to follow the conversation. We wanted to talk about traditional dishes. Like what's like a traditional dish from your culture that you recommend trying? one here. Like if you go to a Peruvian restaurant, like anywhere in the world, you probably will find like roasted chicken, and you will see like pollo a la brasa, but like that's the actual name, pollo a la brasa. But the roasted chicken, I swear, it's just chicken and fries. Like it's literally chicken and fries. It's just the best. Like everywhere you go, you'll find that roasted chicken. It's like a treat for you, I guess. Everywhere, like you go to the roasted chicken restaurant, like after, you know, your graduation or something like that.
I can share next. I feel like out of all the places I've eaten in the world, like no place does barbecue like the US. Like I feel like you can't say you've had like traditional like Texan or just like barbecue until you have barbecue in the US. I don't even know what sauces they put on it, but it is so good. And also like coleslaw salad. Every time I try it anywhere else, like it just tastes bland. So I definitely would say, like, if you're coming to the US, definitely partake in barbecue and a burger. The burgers here are just amazing.
I'll try the barbecue next time I go.
Definitely. Okay, Indian cuisine. I know, I'm sure you guys must have heard a lot about Indian spices and everything, but I mean, there are a lot of options. And me being a vegetarian, I feel like I have more options in Indian cuisine rather than in any other cuisine you can have. Because one thing I love the most, I would say, has to be pani puri. So it's called pani puri in Hindi. It's basically, there is like a hollow deep fried dough ball, I would say, and there is like stuffing in it of mashed potatoes and some spices, and then there is some really like, oh my God, my mouth is watering right now, just describing it.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah. It comes with a filling of the spiced water. And that along with the mashed potatoes, and oh, that's divine. I feel like everyone should try it once in their life at least.
Oh,
and it comes in ranges from sweet to spicy water. So if you have the heart for it, you should go for the really spicy one. It will make your ears blow. Yeah, like
I think we're just getting hungry right now. Like all of us just talking about.
Yeah, I think so.
By the way, just so like all the listeners like know, like right now in Peru, it's like morning. Right now in London, where Samantha is, it's like afternoon, and right now where Shali is night. So, it's really funny how, you know, we can disconnect like this and talk about food and just get hungry at like whatever time of the day. But next we wanted to talk about misconceptions, and this is like something we wanted to talk about the most, because I think we're going to talk about misconceptions from our point of view. You know, there's a bunch of misconceptions out there about like Peruvians, Indians, and like people from California. So yeah, just please share like what's a misconception about the place you're from that people might not know about your culture, or like might be confused or something like that.
Okay, I guess I'll talk about like specifically California, because I feel like so many times, like I have friends that like I meet like that are from like other places, even around the country, but especially internationally. It's like they always expect like the surfer persona or like the Valley Girl persona when you go to like California. So like even like I go to school in LA, and so many people I met were like so shocked that like we weren't just at the beach or like stuff like that, or like even like the way we talk, like people think, like I've just been told so many times like, oh, like I've never heard a Valley Girl accent. I'm like, yeah, that's not like a huge thing unless you're actually from the Valley. And people forget that California is like so big. And there's so many people, so you're not just going, like, not everyone lives by the beach. Like, not in, like, retrospect, it's not actually that many people. So that's, like, one stereotype I hear a lot. I do know how to surf, though. So I guess I kind of do fall into that stereotype.
Oh, yeah, I guess I've watched, like, some Disney shows, like I think, Austin and Ally, or Teen Beach, just remind me of, like, California.
Even if somebody's from California is there and on a reality show or something, the way they introduce them is while they are surfing. I've seen that a lot of times.
Yeah, like the video background, it's like people surfing or something like at the beach. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like I've heard though, like people from California, it's like lucky enough to have mountains close to them and like the beach close to them.
So I live in Northern California, so like that's where like I wouldn't say live, like I grew up there. So like I am more in the hills, but like I'm like a 25-30 minute drive max from like a beach. So like you could just drive to the beach.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think one misconception here that you probably just have heard about, that we have llamas everywhere you go in Peru, and we don't. Especially like being from the city. I'm currently in Cusco right now, so yeah, you will see llamas and vicuñas everywhere you go. You might get charged if you take a picture with the llama, which don't fall into that. But yeah, like in Lima, it's just like it's not a New York City, but it's a city, and I do live like in the suburbs area, so I'm not like fully in the city, but yeah, no llamas there. And we do have like coast and like the mountain range and like jungle, but yeah, like no llamas, just in Cusco, and probably in the mountain range, but yeah, not llamas everywhere. And I think last we spoke, Samantha mentioned the Rainbow Mountain, so it's funny because there's so many ways to get to the Rainbow Mountain, like by horse. You can go hike up there, and there's like some other side that's getting popular because it's like there's less people. And I've been there like twice because of the amount of people. It's not worth it. And like the hike is really good though. I love hiking, so the hike park is really good. But if you want like that picture, like Pinterest pictures with like with the colors, yeah, you won't get that. It won't be as magical as it looks in the pictures. I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, Kishal, please go.
There's like one misconception about India. I feel like when I'm living in London, I feel like people there think that to visit India is to only visit India's culture. But that is, I would say that is so not correct. It is diverse. As it is diverse in cultures, it is also diverse in terms of landscapes. We have snows, we have mountains, we have beaches. We have desert. We have white desert.
Wow, I'm actually like surprised. So, wow.
Yeah, it is also India is not that big of a country area-wise, but still we have all these landscapes because I love traveling myself. We have snows in the north. We have a huge desert in the west. It's very hot. It's very cold in the north. And then there comes the western part of India, where I'm from, Maharashtra. It is also kind of humid. We have the world's wettest place, like where it rains the most in the world, Cherrapunji. That is also in India. So that's like a whole different. I would say when I say that India is diverse, I mean it is truly diverse in every aspect there possibly is. Whether it may be cultures, it could be landscapes, it could be languages, it could be anything. It could be food, traditions, clothes, a lot. So I feel like there's a lot here.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I think there's a lot to learn from every culture. I think like that's why I wanted to do these like weekly, because like there's just so much to learn. Like there's a bunch of misconceptions out there, like from all cultures. So we can keep talking about them like for like on and on.
Forever.
But we can move on to like traditional festivals. How do people typically celebrate these events? Here's like a lot of fuss about other like events, depending on where you are in Peru, because like I said, it feels like kind of like a whole other country when you go to jungle or like Wonder Ridge. Where I am from in Lima, how my family celebrates, I think like people is like, we all have different ways of celebrating like these events. For example, like on the 27th is our Independence Day, and like where I'm from, like there's just like you go like up to the roof to see the fireworks, like maybe have like it's a holiday, so my family doesn't do much fuss about it, but I think people it's more like, let's go drink, and like there's a bunch of like celebrations around those dates too, so people go drink the night before, and like they celebrate the whole day, of the holiday. And my family doesn't do that, but I think there's just a lot of noise when it comes to the celebrations. It gets a little bit messy, like here in Peru, from my point of view, like I said. What about you guys?
I would say one holiday that was like really fun, like growing up and even still now celebrating. And I didn't really realize how much the US celebrates it until I moved to France and like they didn't like celebrate it at all, is Halloween. So I know it's like, it's different than Day of the Dead. I know it like stems from there, which is like a Mexican holiday, but like when you're really young, you basically like, I'm sure you've all heard of trick-or-treating. So like everyone like gets dressed up and you go with all your friends and you walk around your neighborhood and you like get candy from like houses, and like you would always scout out the streets that would hold like, that would like give out like the huge candy bars, not like the little fun size ones. And then like you would go back home with your friends and like watch scary movies and eat it. Now it's a bit different. So like in college, it's actually, you don't just have Halloween Day, it's like a weekend. So even though, so they'll celebrate on Halloween and the whole weekend before, and everyone is just throwing a party. So you'll get like dressed up in whatever character, or there'll be like certain themes. Like, so certain frat houses will have like a Barbie theme, and everyone comes dressed up as a Barbie, and then you go
That
there.
sounds so fun. That's so fun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
And you just get plastered, but it's a lot of fun, and it's like a whole weekend thing. And then last Halloween, I didn't party on Halloween because I actually had a midterm on Halloween, but the night of, my friends, like, you can carve pumpkins. So like my friends and I, like, we carve pumpkins, and then like you usually like make the pumpkins, like you bake the pumpkin seeds after, and then you just like eat candy and watch scary movies, and it's nice.
That
sounds lovely.
That
really.
Yeah, that's really
that sounds
cool.
so much fun. I hope I get to celebrate that one day, maybe. But when you talk about India, yeah, I will probably. Like this year, probably, I don't know. So when I talk about India, there are a lot of festivals that come to mind. But I would like, for this episode, maybe, I don't know, for this conversation, I would like to bring up Holi. So that is the festival of colors in India. I don't know if you've heard about it. So it is a festival where people splash colors on each other. And yeah, it's really
like
fun.
Paint or like paint or what?
It comes in different forms. It comes in paint, in the form of paint, or like powder form, the organic colors,
So
which are easier to
like,
take out of your skin. Yeah.
So are you supposed to wear like white, and then by the end of the day?
Yeah, we wear, and we're all colorful by the end of the day. So we like throw colors on each other. It doesn't matter where you throw it, on your face, on your body, anywhere. And then there's like water involved in it, and flower petals probably.
So you guys do it like in one place? Sorry.
It's like a huge party. There's like a huge party. There's DJ there. There's food. There's music. There's drinks. There's everything. There's like a traditional drink for Holi. It's called bhang, and it is a little bit like a sedative. Like people get high on it. And when you drink it, you're high. You're having food, and you're playing with colors. There's water. There are petals of flowers. It's like a huge party. So much fun, guys. I mean,
oh my gosh, that sounds so cool. Oh my God.
Yeah.
To go there.
Why do I feel like you both guys like party so good, like, and I do not? Like,
no, I will invite you guys. Probably for the next Holi, we can all come to India and celebrate.
Yeah, please. I'll go and like. Oh my gosh, I'll party hard. I'll do my best, but like, I guess I've been to Halloween parties before, but not as big, I guess. Yeah. And
but this Holi thing is like, it's celebrated everywhere, even like children to adults to old people, everyone celebrates it, and everyone gets colored. It's so much fun. I feel like you guys should definitely.
Is it like a day event? Is it like a weekend event?
Yeah, it's for the day. I mean, it's like a weekend event, but on the first day of the festival, we light like a huge bonfire, and then everybody steps around it, and so to burn all our sins, and there's like a cultural aspect to it, to like burn all the negative energies and whatever.
I want to burn all the negative energy.
Yeah. So that is on the night before, and on the next next day, for the whole day, there's this color thing going on, and there are like parties everywhere.
Wow,
it's so much fun.
That sounds so fun. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You guys.
There is even a place in India where one form of playing Holi is Latmar Holi. It's called Latmar Holi, where people beat each other up with a huge stick.
Okay, I'm not going to that one.
Yeah, I'll skip that one.
I'll pass.
I'm down with the.
Yeah, I haven't been to that one either, so I'm just putting it out there because it really exists.
I'll stick with the high drinks and the colors.
Yeah, me too. But that's
I
really
figured
interesting,
that.
though. That's really
No,
really
it really has a part of history to it because Lord Krishna in our culture, he was he started this tradition back in the day, probably before Christ, definitely, and there is a scripture about it in the books. And they used to call them Gopikas and Lord Krishna. So whenever he was being kind of naughty, the Gopikas would beat him up with the lathi. That's how, and then they would use flower petals to like throw on each other and colors and water. That's how the whole tradition of Holi came up.
Wow. That's that's so really cool to know. Like that's just crazy. I wish I would know more like about like that's those kind of traditions here. I just know there's a lot of drinking. What about you, Samantha?
Yeah.
So fun. Like I don't know how this would work out, but if like people made like a bucket list of like all the different like popular like festivals of different cultures, and then like you can travel when those festivals are happening. That would be
that would be so cool.
That's really cool. Like and actually being to like to a Holi party was like there's like you guys put so much effort into it, like all the decorations. I've seen like the decorations in like not just movies, like oh my gosh, the commitment.
It's real. It's a real thing. That's like one thing that like I obviously matters like what neighborhood you go to, because but like the neighborhood by my house, like full out, like basically there's this one house that holds a festival. Like the house has a festival. So you go in and there's like a swimming pool and there's like bungee jumping and there's like
into the public.
Crazy. Yeah.
That's really cool. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I've also heard that there is in some neighborhoods there's like a competition, like whose decoration is this most scariest one. Is that
Does
true?
anyone I have a question. Does anyone get a prize or something, or just for the sake of it? Like, does anyone get a prize?
No, I really have thick skin. I don't get surprised.
Like, I mean, if you go into like a haunted house, like I feel like, so there's like, usually people don't set up haunted houses, but like a lot of theme parks in the US, like Universal Studios has like a horror night. So for like the whole month of October, they set up all these haunted houses and they change like all the rides. So like you're walking through these movie sets, and I don't know if you've seen like Us, and people like are like running after you and stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They like set up all this stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I would really love to visit such event.
Yeah, I actually scare easily, so that's why like I don't know if I'll go to those, but I'll go to the party. Okay.
Yeah, they're scary. My friends would always put me in the front.
Oh no. No.
Oh.
Thank you. Next.
Heart rate picked up for sure.
Okay, what about like costumes or like etiquette norms, like in your culture? Like is there like any costumes or etiquette norms that we should know? Maybe like I think last we spoke we were gonna talk about funerals and like weddings. What about?
Oh, like
I feel like that is more about the colors.
Okay, Kushal, you go.
Okay, so I feel like there are norms about the colors. Like if you're going at a funeral, you have to wear white, because in our culture, white is considered as a color of liberation, and so people wear white at funerals. And in the weddings, the brides usually wear red because it is the color of love. So apart from that, I feel like, there are different costumes if you start traveling from the north of India and you go to the south. You'll find there are different like traditional clothing or costumes in every state. But the general norms include these, like you have to wear white for funerals, and the bride usually wears red at her wedding.
Okay, I wonder if you wear white on funerals, what do you wear on a wedding? Like what color do you wear?
There is not like a general thing for anyone. But nowadays, people do color coordinate. That's not part of the rule though. It's just for the bride. She wears red usually. Other people can wear anything they want.
Okay.
That's like the opposite for the US. So for the US, we wear black to funerals because I guess it like represents like sadness. I don't really know like the cultural means. I think it's just supposed to mean like sadness. And then for weddings, actually, you don't want to wear red because if you wear red, like if you're a girl, it could symbolize that you're like the mistress to like the groom. So you don't want to wear red.
Oh.
Okay, no reds in weddings.
No red for US.
A worse color to wear though is white because the bride wears white, and like if you wear anything white, or it can even be like a light pink and it looks white, like it's seen as like a huge sign of like disrespect. Like, so we have bridal parties, so like you have your bridesmaids, and like there's been stories of people wearing white and like people like purposely spilling wine on the dress because it's like disrespectful to wear white.
Oh no!
You do not want to wear white. Like you can be kicked out of a wedding if you wear white. So like the white is only supposed to be for the bride.
But like when you go to like a family party, I hated this growing up, but like my mom would make, I don't know anyone in the party. Like if like my aunt's birthday, there might be friends of my aunts, like there might be, cousins that I don't know, but my mom would make me say hi to each of them. And we say hi with a kiss on the cheek and with a hug, and because that's just like how we, say hi here in Peru. And so I will need to, like kiss everybody. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? But that's like you show your respect that way. And I know like the kiss on the cheek is not like a normal way of greeting people. Like, I don't know if in India, I know that in the US it's not, but like is in India? Like,
not in India either.
Yeah, that's something that happens. I don't know if just like the whole Latin American or Hispanic countries, but that's something that happens in Peru. And growing up, I hated it. Now I do like, how is everybody? Hi, but like I don't greet any like everyone, especially if I don't know them. But I wanted to end up with like a historical note, like what's like one interesting fact or historical event about like your country that you find fascinating and you think that others should know about this.
I'm trying to think of one that isn't like brutal or disgusting.
Yeah, I feel like it shouldn't be offensive. It could easily be offensive.
Trying to think of like a California one. Like all I could think of is the gold rush.
I don't know what's that.
Oh, you don't know about the gold rush?
No.
Oh, okay, perfect. This is perfect. Okay, it's a very long, broad history, and like, okay, keep in mind, I learned about this in like fourth grade, which was over 10 years ago. So we're going to see how much my brain remembers. But basically, so California, like basically around like, I think it was like the mid 19th century, so 1850s, like people discovered gold in California, which basically this gold spiked a huge migration. So like, obviously you start with the 13 colonies, which is on the East Coast, and people were slowly making their way over. But it like, and I think this was after the Spanish War. So I think like the US had California by that point, but there was just a huge influx of people moving to California. And California became this hotspot because everyone was trying to mine for gold because there was so much gold and make so much money. So that's how like, especially in Northern California, like San Francisco, we saw that huge influx of migration, like with all the wagons and like everything, because everyone was coming to the West Coast to find gold to get rich. So that was like
wow. That's so really cool.
Gold rush.
You know what that makes me think of? So the Incas, like really many years ago, the Incas would once the Spanish came, the Incas would hide their gold everywhere, and the Incas were like these huge, like 2-meter guys that would just like go climb mountains and like go hike everywhere. And like literally people till this day, they still find gold. you will find gold like in these really small communities that people don't know about, because people in these small communities and valleys, they are reserved from the culture. They are really skeptical about, the city and like the globalization. So they're still like, if you have watched Transformers, I don't want to spoil you, but like there's still like really small communities that they have stickers on their own. And so my dad is actually, he's from like a really small community in like the center of Peru. 5 years ago, maybe, we went for a hike with my uncle. He knows a lot about the place. We went up for a hike. There you can see holes on the floor of people actually looking for gold, because they don't share much of like their culture. It's really crazy how much you can find. It's more of like a respect thing that they don't talk about it. If people would know, like in the world, like, yeah, there's still gold, blah, blah, and you need to go here. That's why I didn't say the name of the town. But like, if you go here, you will find gold. But people just don't share that. And like, because they're a really small community, they don't want people to, they just want to preserve that as part of their culture, as part of like their rituals and everything else. So one thing that we do is like, I don't do, but I see them do that. But when they drink something, like whatever, like water or like beer or whatever you're drinking, like they spill a little bit into the ground, like as a thank you to Mother Earth. And when you spill it a little bit, you drink it, and the beer has like the foam at the end, that there's left. So they try to get everything out of the glass just to say like thank you. And you need to be really respectful, or like of where you go. There's a lot of like stories of like people disappearing here, but traditionally they think that it's because they were disrespectful to Mother Earth. And I don't fully, you can believe whatever you want, but like I don't fully believe in this. Like, but they think that because you are disrespectful, then the Mother Earth like kind of like sucks you in. They like take your soul or something like that. In our land, you need to be respectful, because there's a lot of history, and there's a lot of like, we used to praise the sun and just everything related to nature. And yeah, like I think that's one thing that, other than the Machu Picchu, you can think of Peru. That we do.
Was about to ask.
We used to praise the sun and just everything related to culture. I mean, to nature, and yeah, like I think that's one thing that, other than the Machu Picchu, you can think of Peru. That we do.
Was about to ask.
You do respect a lot of like nature. Once Machu Picchu was discovered, they didn't want it to make a fuss about it, because they wanted just to preserve it as it is. But now, the rest of it. But now everyone knows it. My parents are from the inside of Peru, like really small towns. But growing up in the city, Lima is just like any other city. So I wouldn't know if my parents wouldn't be from like really like Cusco. My mom is from Cusco. My dad is from like other part, like on the inside of Peru. But yeah, like I think that's something interesting to know about Peru, if you didn't know.
I forgot
That
one
sounds
thing.
really fascinating.
I forgot. I feel like you guys will like know this brand that I forgot that actually they got their. Do you guys know Levi jeans?
Yeah.
So part of the way they were able to grow is that during the gold rush, they went to California and they sold their jeans to like all the miners, like that were mining gold, and that's like how they grew up their business.
Wow.
So it had like
Wow.
a very strong standing in San Francisco, and it, like
Are you sure this is like you could share this? It sounds illegal to know.
the legally you shouldn't be exposing them. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's funny. And that's funny.
No, but that's really fascinating though.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So
There's a lot
Like all
of
that
gold
talks
involved.
about gold.
Yeah, please tell us. Is there gold involved in your culture?
Yeah,
does India have any gold related history? Since I guess
definitely. Yeah, all that talk about gold reminds me that, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but back in the day, like a few centuries back, when like Vasco da Gama or the other sea traveler, what was his name, who went to look out for India but accidentally stumbled upon US? I don't know his name.
Columbus.
Columbus. Yep, Columbus. So
Columbus
back in those
discovered
days,
Columbus discovered us. They were the ones who just like.
yeah, we were discovered by Vasco da Gama, I think. I'm not sure.
A lot of history here.
So back in the day, Yeah, those people came out looking for India because India was known as the golden canary in the world. Like, we had so much gold. People used to trade in gold in India back in the day. Like, there was no currency, no money or anything. There was just gold coins. Yeah, there was so much gold that it has been established. If you Google it, it will come up. The economy of India back in the day was more than $3 trillion in today's rate. So yeah, so people, like, the word spread around the world, and people went looking for India. Columbus and eventually Vasco da Gama stumbled onto Goa, and then India was pretty huge back in the day as well. Like, today's Pakistan and Bangladesh and other surrounding areas were all India. So, like, people found out about the amount of gold that we have, and then all the foreign invasions started to happen. First, it was the Middle East, then it was the British, and then the rest. It might sound offensive after this, so I'm going to stop here.
Wait, were there British people ever in Peru?
What's that?
Oh yeah.
Were there like British people ever in Peru?
Was Peru ever colonized by the Britishers?
Oh no, we were oh my gosh, you put me in a spell here. Side note, do not judge anybody if like the historical facts.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Okay. Just for the listeners, please do not judge anybody. We are not history teachers. But from what I can remember, I think it's more like we were colonized by the Spanish, and so they actually landed in northern part of Peru. They brought us, Spanish. The Spanish is actually our second language. My first language is Spanish, but for my mom, because my mom and dad, they're like from the inside Peru. Actually, their first language is Quechua. Oh my gosh, I hope the numbers and the facts are not like that messed up. But the Spanish would get together with Peruvians, and then the mixed race will come into our culture, and a mix between Peruvians and Spanish. For example, my last name is not Peruvian; it's Spanish. Velasquez is a Spanish last name. So yeah, that all came with a lot of Spanish influence. And language, music, cultural wise. Oh yeah, because we praise the sun. They brought us religion.
Michelle, what is like the official language of like India? Is there like one official?
Technically, there is just one official language, Hindi. But if you go to the south part of India, people don't speak Hindi at all. So there are a lot of different languages and more than 100 dialects of Hindi as well. So where I'm from, we don't speak Hindi either. There is a different dialect of Hindi.
So like in school, do you learn Hindi? Is that like the language, like, because like...
It is just officially, because in the parliament or in the documents, you'll see that Hindi is the national language of India. But if you actually visit India, and if you visit like all parts of India, you'll find that there are a lot of different versions of Hindi or different language altogether.
That's really
cool. If you go to the South India, there people don't even speak Hindi. They don't understand Hindi. We don't understand their language. I mean, me personally, I like to learn a lot of languages, but I haven't been able to get around to learning Tamil or Telugu. That is the language they speak in the South India, because I don't understand it at all. And they don't understand Hindi as well. So there are like a lot of languages in India.
That's like a crazy concept. Because I feel like the U.S. is this language.
What do you mean? Like you guys just speak English? Like that's what you mean?
Well, I mean, if you go to first language wise, obviously if you go to certain parts of the country, they will speak different languages. Like for example, like in Louisiana, like New Orleans, like that used to be colonized by the French. So there, like a lot of people there speak French. But it's like different than like French you see in France now, just because it's been so long since they've had like like the dialect's different, but so like French is like a very popular language there. And then like all along the border, like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, California, like you hear a lot of Spanish, but like everywhere, like usually people speak English, especially if they're born in the US. Like obviously you have people that like immigrate here that like don't know English, but like that's like our language. So it's very rare that you'll find, I feel like, or more rare that you'll find someone in the US that doesn't know any English.
Well, yeah.
Oh, you'll find tons in India. You'll only hear English in India in the cities. If you travel to remote places, people don't speak English at all. Like,
I mean, I guess you wouldn't really need to.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how rich each country is. And I think in the US, like even if you do speak English, you will find different cultures still, like different communities as well.
Yeah, I feel like US is a country fully made of immigrants, so I feel like there are a lot of different cultures there as well.
Yeah, like most of it's I do wish, like, I feel like Americans that were born that have a lot of family, because a lot of times, like, if you know a second language in the US, it's because like your family came from that country, or you so like, for example, like my friends that speak different languages, it's like, oh, they grew up in German households, or like my friend's parents were Russian immigrants. But like if you're born here, or like have multiple families that live in the US, a lot of time like the language is lost. Like my grandma speaks Spanish, but in the area they grew up, like people were kind of like not super accepting. So my mom never learned that. So a lot of languages get lost, which is like one stereotype I don't like about the US, that like I feel like so many people don't speak multiple dialects, which I wish that was more encouraged. But I guess with the country being so big and everyone's speaking English, there's not like urgency for it.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, the US is like a really fascinating country because it's just huge, and like there's a lot of
but there is like an upside to it, because I'm telling this from a personal experience, because when I went on a road trip in the South India, I was lost. I wasn't able to ask anyone for directions because I won't understand their language. So I feel like that is one upside to everyone speaking English in the US, because it's such a huge country, and if you are on, I know that US people love taking road trips. So if you're ever lost in US, you'll find your way. That's not the case in India.
Yeah, well.
We do have Hawaiian, but it is a dying language, unfortunately. But there has Hawaiian, which is like a native.
Aloha.
Yep.
I just know that one word.
Yeah, little Stitch. Yeah, that's how far I go. Oh my gosh, I think we could just keep going on, like, because there's just so much
this is a never-ending conversation.
Yeah, like a rich information, a lot of beautiful things to know about each.
But I really love this. Like, I got to learn a lot about the US and Peru. I really love that.
If you want to, say thank you to Mother Earth, you can just spill like some sort of water into the ground, and you're already
definitely doing that.
Oh, that's such a nice spot, because like in the US, if you get your drink, that usually means you don't like it.
It's like, oh yeah, I don't like it. Well, you can say you're saying thank you to Mother Earth. Yeah, that's something that we do here, and like it's really fun how the like. One thing could mean something in your country, another thing could mean something in another country. And like that's just, I think I find it fascinating, and I think a lot of the listeners and a lot of the people is gonna watch this, I think they're gonna just have more questions, and I hope they're encouraged to share about their cultures. One thing, like I
really hope so.
Like I said, this is just a safe space. Forgive us if like we said something wrong historical wise, but
please forgive us. That was a small record. eggshell
That was-
there on that topic. Yeah.
Was 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I think everything that we said, it was like from our perspective and from our
Yeah,
personal
from personal
experiences.
perspective.
I hope everyone else, I'm just wrapping up here, like I hope everyone else just find it as interesting and as exciting as it was for us. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing. And like it's really not any conversation, because it's really interesting just to know. Even like it just makes me want to know more about my culture and like all the historical dates and everything else, because it's really like something that we all should be proud of, like our cultures. And like we know that there's more that we could talk about, and that's why we're going to have this segment on our social media at iSpark Change. Please make sure to follow us. Please make sure to follow us if you like our conversation, and share with us that what's something interesting about your culture that the world needs to know. Thank you so much, guys. I'm just gonna end the record here. It was so fun just to talk with you. Oh my god.
It was. It really was. Thank you so much, guys, both of you. I really learned a lot.
Wow, wasn't that fun? I know you enjoyed their conversation as much as I did. We'll have more from them in the coming episodes, so stay tuned. I know you guys like hearing the variety of different people. I love connecting with people. Since I started iSpark Change 3 years ago, I've connected with hundreds of people from all over the globe, and we want to have more of the diversity and share in the cultural exchange from anywhere we can. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. I hope that what we shared resonated with you, and in some way it helps you to spark something inside of you so you can go out and spark change with others every day. I'd love to learn more about the ways that you spark change, so please share that with us on social media. I promise I will personally respond. Thanks for listening today, and we will see you all next time on the iSpark Change podcast.
Do you want Rick to speak at your event? Here's what others have to say.
Did not know his story, and it was so inspirational, and his presence on stage, his authenticity was just incredible.
Absolutely loved his performance. It made me feel some type of way.
If you're looking for a speaker for your next event, hire Rick. I promise you this, you will not be disappointed.
Visit rickcornelis.com to book him today.
Remember, Impact Heroes, every positive action can be a spark moment that has a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the initial act. So go out there and spark change. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, then please smash that 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. We value your comments, and we want to hear from you in the community. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and we'll see you next week on the iSpark Change podcast.